Said Florida always up in something. So we got a 20-year-old man right here. This man then really lost his life. So apparently this is what happened. So a couple of friends ended up being in the park. And his name is Jeremy Alexander. So that's his name. And the other person, the victim, oh, I forget this young man's name that they said the victim was. Um, he ended up taking his friend's life. So the story is this is how it all went down. So they was all in the park. A whole group of friends, no one was in the park, just enjoying the day. He came, the victim ended up actually seeing a pair of socks on the ground. So he picked them up as him and a group of friends were just walking. This friend showed up on a bike and said, "Oh, you stole my socks. You stole my socks." So the victim looking at him like, "Huh?" So he got off the bike. He rolled up on a bike, got off of it, and they started to get into a heated argument to the point where this man right here ended up going into his waist to pull out a firearm. At that point, the victim knocked him out. So after he didn't got after he got up, the victim and his friends kept on walking. So he said, "Oh, okay, okay." So he got up and then pointed the weapon at this man and had this weapon. Then the victim did it again. The victim ended up turning around again, and hitting him, knocking him out again. So at this point, the victim, he actually ended up pulling a weapon. He ended up hitting the guy once again. They get into another scuffle. And this time he got a good hand over him with his weapon, with the gun. He had the weapon against his friend's back of his friend's head. And the victim tried his best to ask the other friends that were around them for help. And none of them would help. None of them would do anything. And this man right here ended up pow-powing his friend in the back of his head. And then he took off on another bike. Not the bike he came on, but the other bike, and left the pair of socks that he accused his friend of stealing. That his friend ended up just finding as they was walking in the park. So now you ran away from the crime with a weapon. Also, now you're arrested and now you doing life in jail. You 20 years old. All for a pair of socks that you accuse him of stealing, that he literally found in the park with the rest of your friends. Y'all, the rest of the friends that he was with. He just found a pair of socks and you took his life. To me, it seemed like you took his life because he got because he knocked you out. And he knocked you out, he hit you again in the face again. And you didn't like that. Instead of taking that L, you took your friend's life. And they both was the age of 20. Now you finna be in prison for the rest of your life. I don't get this whole thing. Like you who runs up on somebody because of a pair of socks? Like he found a pair of socks on the ground. And who's carrying a pair of socks around? You ran on a bike carrying a pair of socks around. Why? Why? Also said that he wanted to teach his friend a lesson. That's what that was one of the things. He said this whole thing was to teach the friend a lesson, but he ended up pulling the trigger. I said, how are you teaching somebody a lesson by actually pulling out a weapon? Your pride was hurt because your friend knocked you out twice. And I look at the other friends for not even trying to escalate this whole thing. When this man tried to, well, this man actually took this person out. Y'all didn't try to even help your friend that was the victim. Y'all didn't try at all. Y'all just stood there. That's the saddest part about it. Now somebody's gone. I hope that you learned your lesson in this. You have the time, you have the rest of your life to learn and repent for what you have done. It can never bring him back all over some socks. All because you was hurt because you got knocked out. Because that's what I'm getting from it. You couldn't, whatever that heated argument over a pair of socks you accuse him of stealing, where he just found, that's what it is. But let me know how y'all feel about it. It's your boy Paul. Thank y'all for tuning in. I get back at y'all later.